Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Global Conflict News channel. Please subscribe to stay updated with every major development from around the world. Tonight, we turn our focus to the heart of the Middle East, Gaza, where tensions have once again reached a boiling point. The night sky was ripped apart by streaks of light and thunderous blasts as Hamas launched a series of rocket attacks following an intense Israeli airstrike earlier in the day. The echoes of war once again rolled over the Gaza Strip, marking another painful chapter in a conflict that shows no signs of ending. From the exterior, the scene was nothing short of apocalyptic. Across Gaza City, towering plumes of black smoke rose high into the night sky, lit up by flashes of explosions and the fiery trails of missiles racing toward the horizon. Buildings shook as shockwaves rolled through narrow streets, and families huddled in the corners of their homes, praying for safety. On the Israeli side, warning sirens wailed across border towns like Darrow and Ashkelon, as civilians rushed toward bomb shelters. The bright lights of the Iron Dome defense system lit up the darkness, intercepting many of the rockets midair, leaving glowing sparks cascading down like fireworks of war. The ground trembled, and in every direction, the night screamed of chaos, fear, and survival. Moving inside Gaza, the interior tells a story of both devastation and defiance. The narrow alleys, already scarred by months of conflict, now bear fresh wounds, shattered glass, collapsed roofs, and streets littered with debris. Yet, amid the destruction, life refuses to stop. In candle-lit rooms, families gather around radios and mobile phones, listening for the latest updates. Medical workers rush through the corridors of overcrowded hospitals, their uniforms stained with dust and blood, doing everything they can to save the wounded. The sound of ambulances never stops, echoing like a haunting lullaby over the city. Children cling to their parents, too young to understand the politics of war but old enough to recognize its fear. Every corner whispers a story, of loss, of courage, of resilience. Inside the Israeli border towns, the atmosphere is tense but controlled. Civilians remain alert, following security protocols that have sadly become routine. Shelters are stocked, emergency teams are on standby, and the Iron Dome units operate with precision, defending the skies above southern Israel. For both sides, it has become a tragic rhythm: attack, response, retaliation, each day blending into the next, separated only by the intensity of the strikes. When we talk about performance, the scale of this exchange once again highlights the military capabilities on both sides. Israel's airstrike earlier in the day targeted what it described as Hamas military infrastructure, suspected command centers, weapon storage sites, and rocket launch positions. The Israeli Air Force jets flew low over Gaza, releasing guided bombs that struck with deadly accuracy. The sound of those strikes reverberated for miles, and by evening, multiple explosions had flattened parts of the northern Gaza Strip. In response, Hamas mobilized its rocket units, launching dozens of projectiles toward Israeli cities. Analysts say that within a matter of hours, Hamas demonstrated the speed and coordination of its retaliatory operations, showing that despite heavy losses, the group's rocket network remains intact and operational. Each side showcased its technological and tactical strengths, turning Gaza once again into a deadly testing ground of modern warfare. On the ground, the performance of Israel's Iron Dome defense system was once again under the spotlight. According to preliminary reports, a high percentage of rockets were intercepted midair, preventing what could have been a far greater tragedy in urban centers. Still, some projectiles managed to break through, causing fires and damaging homes. The system, though highly advanced, faces its limits when faced with mass rocket barrages fired simultaneously from multiple launch points. For Hamas, the sheer ability to launch rockets even after continuous airstrikes signals that its command network, while bruised, remains resilient. Experts believe that Hamas continues to innovate its rocket designs, focusing on range and payload, trying to outpace Israel's interception capabilities. When we consider safety features, both sides rely on highly organized systems built to protect lives amid chaos. In Israel, the nationwide alert system, known as Red Alert, gives civilians a few critical seconds to find shelter once a rocket launch is detected. Underground shelters, reinforced safe rooms, and community response teams play an essential role in saving lives. On the Gaza side, however, safety remains an impossible luxury. There are no shelters for the vast majority of the population. Civilians often take refuge in schools, mosques, or hospitals, places that are sometimes targeted or damaged in the conflict. The humanitarian crisis deepens with every strike, as electricity cuts, lack of clean water, and food shortages push millions toward desperation. Yet, amid all of this, local volunteers and rescue teams work tirelessly, often risking their own lives to dig survivors out from the rubble. Their courage is the real safety mechanism in Gaza, the human shield of compassion standing against the machinery of war. The unique selling points of this ongoing conflict, as tragic as it sounds, lie in its symbolism and global impact. This is not just a local confrontation, it's a message, from both sides, to the world. For Israel, the strikes are about deterrence and national security, showing that any attack will be met with overwhelming force. For Hamas, the rocket launches serve as a statement of resistance, a declaration that even under siege, they will not be silenced. Every rocket fired, every bomb dropped becomes part of a much larger political narrative, one that stretches beyond Gaza's borders and echoes through world capitals. The global reaction is swift. Some nations condemn the violence and call for restraint, others express support for Israel's right to defend itself, while humanitarian organizations pled for a ceasefire to prevent more civilian suffering. On social media, images and videos flood timelines, sparking outrage, sympathy, and debate, each post amplifying the voices trapped in the crossfire. The conflict becomes not only a military struggle but also a war for public perception, waged in the court of global opinion. If we were to imagine a price for this confrontation, it would be measured not in dollars or weapons, but in human lives and shattered dreams. Every explosion carries a cost: a child orphaned, a home destroyed, a future stolen. The price is seen in the eyes of mothers searching through rubble, in the exhaustion of doctors who have not slept for days, and in the silent tears of civilians who have lost everything. Economically, Gaza's infrastructure takes another massive blow: factories, markets, and schools reduced to dust. Israel, too, bears the financial strain of mobilization, defense operations, and rebuilding after rocket impacts. Yet the heaviest price is the emotional one, shared by ordinary people on both sides who crave peace but are trapped in a cycle they cannot control. The world watches, debates, and moves on, but for those in Gaza and southern Israel, the pain lingers long after the news cameras leave. In conclusion, the latest escalation between Hamas and Israel is another painful reminder that the Middle East remains caught in a loop of retaliation and revenge. The night when Hamas fired rockets after the Israeli attack was not just another exchange of fire, it was a reflection of decades of mistrust, displacement, and political stalemate. Both sides claim defense, both claim justice, and both suffer losses. For viewers around the world, it's easy to see statistics and headlines, but behind every number is a human story, a family, a dream, a life interrupted. As the sun rises over Gaza, the smoke may fade, but the fear and uncertainty remain. Until real dialogue replaces rocket fire, the skies over Gaza and Israel will continue to glow with the light of destruction rather than hope. The world waits for leaders who will finally break the cycle and replace the sound of explosions with the sound of peace. Thank you for watching Global Conflict News. Please subscribe to our channel to stay updated with every breaking development from the world's most critical conflict zones. Stay safe, stay aware, and may peace prevail soon.